And let's turn now to our regular segment where we track what the global press has been saying about India this week. And let's start with this particular report in the New York Times. I guess a lot of the coverage continues to be linked to the Prime Minister's visit to the United States and then to France. So the New York Times really has a long article about the diaspora and the role that it plays. It says in this report that while the Indian Prime Minister has a strong tie with the diaspora, the New York Times feels that some strains are emerging due to concerns about what it calls the Modi government's Hindu-first policies, despite the economic progress being made back home. The New York Times article says that the diaspora has played a significant role in supporting Mr. Modi, but it says there are also appeals for moderation and inclusivity. Le Monde says in its latest report that the invitation to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and that rapturous reception that he actually got in France did raise some questions in France. It says that some concerns were expressed about the Modi government's treatment of minorities. However, Le Monde says the visit was part of France's long-standing relationship with India, as France views India as a key player in shaping a multipolar world and a natural counterweight to China. Le Monde says that despite all the controversies, the invitation underscores the complex geopolitical considerations and partnerships involved in international diplomacy. Moving on to the Financial Times, where there's a two-part article being written by leading economics commentator Martin Wolf. And in the first part, he says he predicts that India is going to be rising as a great power with a US-sized economy by 2050. By 2050, and he says that's why the West's bet on India is a good bet to make. He says he foresees a sustained 5% GDP growth yearly, attracting companies in a China plus one strategy. He said that Western leaders see India as a counterweight to China, drawn by its young labor force and by the economic potential. He said that India's GDP per head is projected to reach 30% of the US by 2050, making it a formidable economic player. In this next part, Martin Wolf says he's going to be talking about India's future as a liberal democracy. So we're going to wait for that particular article coming out next week.